What if I told you the secret and key to getting fit and healthy had nothing to do with setting goals? And what if I told you there was actually a better and easier way to do it? Would you believe me? Well, as a therapist for over 10 years, as well as a self-professed gym rat who's lost over 40 pounds naturally and in a healthy way, while also in the throes of motherhood, I feel like I have finally harnessed the power of atomic habits, and it helped me to reach my goals and be the healthiest and most fit version of myself. And if I can do it, so can you. And I'm going to teach you how to do it today. So if you're ready, let's get started. What's up, mamas? Alexandria here. So what are atomic habits? So in case you're not familiar with the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, it is a book about the idea of behavior change and using the behavior change model to change our circumstance. And for me, Atomic Habits, I've seen so many creators create content around all the different ways Atomic Habits can be used. I see it a lot for cleaning and other areas of life, but I really want to make this fitness focused for you today. And I want it to be fitnessified. So principle one is the idea of incremental change over time. So the idea of 1% improvement over time to continue to improve and grow. The idea of this is basically if you were to take $1 and put $1 in the bank every single day of the year, you would have $365. And believe it or not, you can actually do this with fitness as well by making small incremental bank deposits of sorts to your fitness account. You can become more and more fit over time. This may look like a minute a day, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. But over time, by giving 1% more than you already did, you're working towards your fitness goals. I think a lot of us have a really hard time with this because for many of us, myself included, it becomes this all or none thinking about fitness and weight loss and healthy living and all those sort of things. We get that sort of like new year, new me mentality. And when we do that, we want to go all in. But what I'm encouraging you to do instead is rather than go just all in on health and fitness and everything else, change 1% of what you're doing. Maybe that's starting to add small increments of exercise, or maybe that's changing one meal a day. But frequent small changes have a huge impact over time. So don't underestimate the power of change that can have by just simply improving by 1%. Principle number two, focus on systems rather than goals. Now, why not goals, you may ask? Well, the problem with goals is oftentimes once we've set a specific goal, let's say a goal weight or things like that, once we've reached that goal, we no longer have anything to work for without setting a new goal. And if we don't have another creative goal, we lose track of things. So rather than creating specific goals, you want to think about the idea of creating a system. In this particular case, we're talking about the system of being a fit person, a system of being a healthy person, or a system of living a healthy lifestyle. So what is the system of a fit and healthy person, or someone that lives a, quote, healthy lifestyle? So to me, when I think about it, some of you may come to this answer really quickly and some of you may not. But to me, it boils down to three different things: mindset, fitness, and food. And I want to break down each of these for you a little more specifically. So when we think about the idea of mindset, what is the mindset, or what are the things that healthy and fit people think about themselves? And I've done a ton of videos like this already, and I'll link some of them for you. I'll link one in a card for you as well, in case you want more of a deep dive into this subject, because to me, honestly, the mindset piece may very well be the most crucial piece of all, because I feel like you have to start with the mindset. If the mindset is there, the rest of it can come. But if the mindset's not there, it is really, really difficult to overcome that, to do the fitness and to do the food. So when we talk about mindset, what are the things that healthy people or fit people think about themselves? Well, for one, they love their bodies. They feel good about themselves, and they want to take care of their bodies. They also likely believe things like, I can do hard things, or I love a challenge, or they might even think something like, I can do whatever I want to do. I can do whatever it takes to get to where I want to be. They also know from a mindset standpoint that consistency matters more than being perfect and getting it right every single time. So consider your own thought life in this, and consider what are some of your thoughts now and how do they conflict with what some of the mindset around healthy and fit people think. And also, what do you think are some things that healthy and fit people think? What comes to your mind of those things that healthy and fit people think that I may have not already mentioned, because I'm sure I have missed a bunch. I just wanted to name a few for you guys today in the video. Principle number two is fitness. So how is it that healthy and fit people move? What do they do? How do they move their bodies more? What are the ways that we can incorporate more movement into our life? This is the kind of thing that healthy and fit people do. They think about and consider, how do I make fitness fun? How do I incorporate it into my daily life? So for some people who are fit and healthy, that might look like making more time for steps in their day. For some people, that might be incorporating more sporting and things like tennis or golf or baseball, or maybe running if you're crazy. I'm just kidding. If you're new around here, I make fun of runners a lot. My husband likes to run. I hate it. It's just a running joke, so just stay with me. I don't mean to insult you. If you love to run, like rock on, y'all. Rock on. But healthy and fit people make time for movement and make it a priority on the totem pole for whatever that looks like for them. For me, this really came down to making time and prioritizing in my day how I was going to move my body. My current strategy right now is that I get up first thing in the morning and I go ahead and take care of my workout most of the time. Because if I don't, it's much harder to make time for it during my day. And so the fitness component should be, at the end of the day, if you're hoping to live this fit and healthy system, a priority. So what does that look like for you? How do you prioritize fitness? How do you prioritize movement in your life? And then, of course, component 3, which we cannot miss because you cannot outtrain a bad diet, is nutrition. And so this might look like limiting fast foods or making sure that we're eating adequate whole foods, incorporating and prioritizing our protein. These are the types of things that fit and healthy people do as a system. Don't worry, I'm not finished here. I'm going to break this down even further for you. But I want to talk about the sort of 3 key principles first, because I think those are really important to understanding the implementation of the system as we move forward. So by setting up and understanding the 3 pillars, we can set ourselves up with a system for a fit and healthy lifestyle. So you might be thinking to yourself, okay, Alexandria, that's all peachy keen, but how the heck do we even get started? Well, from my perspective, at least, I see 2 routes or 2 choices in how you go about getting started with this. One being you pick one area specifically to focus on and cover all of the micro habits in that area and then move on to the next one. So there are 3, right? So you can either pick one micro habit from each, or you can just focus on food first, or just focus on fitness first, or just focus on mindset first. Whichever feels best for you and the most manageable, because at the end of the day, this strategy has to be most implementable for you. As I mentioned, if you're just choosing one, my recommendation is that you get started with the mindset piece first. But if you want to start with the fitness or the food first, that's totally okay. This was the strategy that worked best for me. But if I'm being honest with you, I think for much of my life, I thought the food stuff was harder than it actually is and more complicated than it actually has to be. And so that's why I've made food videos on this, because I feel like it gets really overcomplicated out in the internet universe. And so for me, the thing that worked best for me is sort of combining mindset with the fitness aspect, because the fitness aspect really helped teach me the mindset stuff. And I know that feels a little wonky, but those kind of go hand in hand as far as I am concerned. And then after that, I focused on the food. And for me, I used Noom. I've done a video on Noom that I can link for you guys if you're curious. But that's the strategy that worked best for me, was focusing on one specific area at a time. But the other option that you have is that you can choose micro habits from each one and combine those together into a nice little plate for yourself. So think about that and decide which one feels most reasonable and most achievable for you in the life circumstances that you're in, because everyone's different. Some of you guys are probably, full-time moms with multiple kids. Some of you may not have any children. All of this is going to impact what you can commit to in that given window of time. When we think about setting up the system for ourselves, we really need to think about the laws of behavior change, okay? The 4 principles of behavior change are that we need to make it obvious, make it easy, make it attractive, and make it satisfying. Hey guys, if you're finding this video useful or helpful in some way, would you do me a huge favor and give this video a thumbs up? It just lets YouTube know that this is useful and helpful information so it can share it out to the world. And of course, if you love it here, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel and let me be your non-judging mom friend who comes alongside you to help you reach your goals. Thank you so much if you took the time to do that. So let's talk about mindset. How might we make mindset obvious? So one of the ways we might make mindset obvious is that we pick some things, some new mindset things that we want to learn about ourselves, and maybe we write them down on a sticky note in our bathroom mirror so that it's right there in front of us every single time we go to wash our face or brush our teeth or whatever it is that we're doing in the bathroom. That way, each time we go in there, we can see it and potentially say it. Make it easy. So every single time you walk by that sticky note, or maybe you dry erase it on the mirror, whatever works for you. Every time you walk by that, you say the phrase that you want to think out loud. As we've talked about on this channel before, if you're new, hi, hello. I talk about cognitive dissonance a lot. But you're not initially, when it comes to mindset, potentially going to believe the things that you write on the mirror. Like if you're thinking, I can do hard things, if you're trying to learn that as your thought, it's going to take some time and practice to rewire your brain into actually believing that's true. Because otherwise, you'll experience what's called cognitive dissonance. And we know that 2 plus 2 is actually 4, but if you learn 2 plus 2 is 5 your whole life, then you're going to believe that 2 plus 2 is 5 until you relearn that information. The same is true for the thought life about ourselves. How do we make it attractive? So one of the ways you might make some sort of mindset strategy attractive is pairing it with something you enjoy. Maybe this is an opportunity that you pair it with some really nice skincare regimen, or your favorite, exercise for the day of, relaxing in a bath that's in your bathroom, and associating it with something that you already enjoy that you might be doing in the bathroom. Now, certainly you don't have to use your bathroom as an example. This is just my example. Please feel free to leave your own examples or thoughts about this in a comment. That would be really helpful to all of us. But if you're, let's say, using the bathroom mirror strategy, right, and you have some great luxury skincare like a mask or something like that, perhaps you're going to pair that with your nice skincare routine so that you remember to practice it and make it attractive and make it something you want to remember and do because you enjoy the luxury skincare aspects. And how do we make it satisfying? So we make it satisfying by giving ourselves a check mark for each day that we say our mantras to ourselves, which is what I call those. But each day that we say our mantra, every time we walk by, we give ourselves a check mark. And perhaps after a week or two, or maybe 30 days, you reward yourself with some sort of reward around your health and wellness journey. Maybe for you, it's some sort of fitness attire. I really like gym clothes. Maybe for you, it's a cute new water bottle to make you drink more water. Or maybe it's some sort of cute new, pair of shoes if you're really into tennis shoes and things like that. Whatever it is for you that's going to make it feel attractive and rewarding, because as human beings, we are basically hardwired from a survival standpoint, which means that we require short-term rewards for the long-term behaviors that we want to see. And so with that, we need to pair it with something that's going to help us to do it in the short term, because oftentimes what we will find is that the short-term things that give us the most pleasure, those like initial endorphins, are often the things that are bad for us, right? Like getting drunk or, things like that. Or, making bad decisions oftentimes are the things that have those instantaneous or immediate gratification. Whereas things like getting healthy and getting fit in the long run have a gratification standpoint. That gratification is delayed for us. And so we have to give ourselves some more immediate gratification to keep us going and get us down the line to that long-term gratification. I did want to mention though, make sure that you don't make your reward food related, because we don't want to associate food with being a reward system for ourselves. That's not how we reach our goals. That just makes us want food even more. So what about fitness? And I did a whole video about if you want to love exercise. I did a whole video about that a little while ago, and I can link that for you if you want more. It's very similar to this video. It's just a little bit different of a twist on this video. So if you want more, I will link that video for you in case you want to expand on this topic and focus on this a little bit more. But when we think about exercise, how do we make it obvious? Well, you might do things like set out your clothes in the morning before, right? Smack yourself in the face with your fitness gear. Or some people, one of the things when I started being a morning workout person is I slept in workout clothes, because I knew that I would be much less likely to sleep in if I was in my workout clothes than if I had to physically put them on. That was too hard for me. So I would physically sleep in workout clothes. I certainly don't have to do that anymore. Now I'm able to just lay them out on the bed, or honestly, now I don't really even need that as a strategy or a tool. But when you're getting started, that's certainly something that you can utilize as a way to better meet those fitness goals, is to make it super obvious by setting out your shoes. Or maybe if you work out from home, going ahead and setting out all of your equipment so everything is ready to go and is the path of least resistance for meeting your goals and for actually doing the workout. Make it attractive. So how do we make fitness attractive? Well, for one, do stuff that you like, do stuff that's fun, but also maybe you're playing really fun music that you really enjoy or really like, something that really gets you hyped up. For me, it's very much 90s pop. It's like boy band, NSYNC, Backstreet Boy era. Don't Make Me Choose. As a kid, I was very much Backstreet Boys. I've seen them in concert as an adult, and it made my heart very full. But, for me, that's like the music that gets me going. But for you, maybe it's hard rock, maybe it's heavy metal, maybe it's Christian music, whatever it is for you that you really love or really enjoy, make it attractive by adding that into your workout. Pick an exercise that you love. If getting you up in the morning to lift weights is not going to do it for you, but getting up to dance might, start there. Do that first. You're not obligated to keep the exact same exercise. Once you've built the habit, it's way easier for you to be like, okay, a couple of days a week, I'm going to strength train instead of just dance. But if you're trying to force yourself to do something you hate, you have a much greater path of resistance for yourself. So don't make it more complicated. Make it attractive, make it fun, make it interesting, and incorporate it with something you love. Make it easy. How do you make exercise easy? Well, there are a couple of things you can do. You can work out from home, which I know works for some people, doesn't work for others. For me, working out from home is really the only functional way that I feel like I have right now because I want to work out before I get my son off to school and everything like that. And I just can't get to the gym first thing in the morning super early like that. So for me, working out from home makes it easy. But for you, if you're somebody that needs to be a person that works out at the gym, if that's the only way it's going to keep you accountable, then maybe easy for you is picking a gym that is on your way to and from your work so that you're going to see it. It's easy to stop there on your way to work, or it's easy to stop there on your way home, but it's always visible to you and you can see it, and it makes it easy for you to stop because you're much less likely to actually go to the gym if you have to drive 15 or 20 minutes out of your way, as opposed to if you just go right down the street, it's right there, or it's on your way to and from wherever it is that you need to be each day. So make it easy. And finally, make it satisfying. Make it satisfying is probably going to look about the same for all of these, honestly. And it really is boiling down to rewarding yourself for those short-term goals and short-term wins, not really goals, but the short-term wins and the short-term behaviors to, again, get you to that long-term goal. Again, I won't go over all that again, I promise. But the idea might be, again, maybe you reward yourself with some cool workout clothes, or maybe you reward yourself with a cool water bottle or some new music subscriptions, or maybe you purchase yourself an app for a program that you've been wanting to do. Like, maybe you're wanting to purchase the CGX app, but you have to dedicate your time and energy to working out consistently first before you're willing to buy it, or the Alive app, or there are 100 fitness apps, but you get my point. Make it a reward for yourself that's, again, related to the lifestyle that you want to live, but that will help you to get to your goal. Finally, let's talk nutrition. So how do we make it obvious? So you make it obvious by maybe adding protein into one meal per day. You just pick one meal a day and you add extra protein into it. That makes it super obvious. It's a very straightforward thing. We're going to add more protein into our meal. Then how do we make it attractive? We do that by pairing it with other things that we love. If we love pasta dishes, or if we love, whatever you love. Maybe you love those really crunchy Brussels sprouts and you know how to make those. I don't, but my husband does. Those things are delicious. Maybe you pair it with those and incorporating more protein into those meals that you already love or already enjoy. And then how do we make it easy? Make it easy by just picking one meal a day at a time, right? Maybe you want to prioritize protein at breakfast, or maybe you want to prioritize it at lunch, or maybe you want to start by prioritizing it at dinner. And once you get good at prioritizing it at one of those meals, then you can start focusing on it at the other meals of your day or during your snacks or whatever fits best for you, so that over time you're adding more protein throughout your day. But in the beginning, just make it easy and pick one. And again, we're going to do the same thing when making it attractive. We're going to give ourselves some sort of reward for, maybe meeting our protein goal for a week. We're going to reward ourselves again with something non-food related. Maybe it's a massage, or maybe it's something else, that's self-care and health related. Or maybe it is something related to recipes or cookbooks or things like that that incorporate healthier living into our lives. But whatever it is, again, I just discourage you from using food as the reward, because we don't want to associate food with being the reward. Not that there's anything wrong with having food or having a reward. It's just that we don't want to assume that food is good, like certain foods are good and bad. And when we call foods like a reward food, we sort of put it in this special little box that makes us want it even more and put it outside of the limits of what we can have in a normal circumstance. So that's why I'm discouraging you away from food. You should certainly make sure you're incorporating the foods that you love in. If you never eat ice cream again, you're going to want it even more. So don't do that to yourself. Make sure you're incorporating the foods that you love as well. Balance is everything when it comes to having a lifestyle of healthy nutrition. So let's talk about identity-based habits. So this is the idea that your habits that meet with the identity that you have or that you desire are most likely to be the ones that you take on or that you're easy to live out. So if you align with the habits that you're trying to create, you have a much greater path of success than if you're choosing that misalign with the lifestyle that you want to live. So in this example, we're talking about a fit and healthy lifestyle, and what are the habits that align with those? So if you see yourself as a fit and healthy person or someone that aspires to be a fit and healthy person, when those two things align, you're much more likely to be successful in reaching those habits and to maintaining those habits. There's also the idea of habit stacking, and this is the idea of pairing a habit that you want to create with something that you already do. For example, when we talked about some of the things that we discussed earlier, this might be brushing your teeth while you recite your mantras, right? That's habit stacking. You're stacking your new habit that you want to create, reciting these positive mantras about yourself with brushing your teeth, something that, my goodness, hopefully you're doing every single day, multiple times a day. So that once you pair those together, you will then associate, oh, I'm brushing my teeth, so I should be saying my mantras. Or this might be adding an extra veggie to your plate. And you already know that you eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? So we're just adding an extra veggie, right? Adding an extra veggie to our plate to habit stack it with something that we already do. Or maybe you're somebody that consistently goes for walks, and maybe that means you're adding a couple of extra push-ups, or you're doing a couple of push-ups before you go for your walk or after you get back. So you're incorporating a little bit of resistance training in with your going for your walk. So you're adding a little more movement in with your other movement. Again, the idea here really is about taking the path of least resistance for yourself and making it as easy as possible for you to create the habits that you want to create. And honestly, this has been absolutely game changing for me, because I think, especially in New Year, New Me era, we get in the space of like, okay, well, let me just do all the things at once. And that can feel super overwhelming and super intimidating. Whereas if we break it down and pick these micro habits and change 1% at a time, we can actually make things that are sustainable for us in the long term. You want to set your environment up to make the habits that you want to create easy and the ones that you want to break hard or difficult to do. So for example, this might mean not keeping trigger foods in your house at least for a little while if you're trying to incorporate some healthier, for me, that's gummy bears. That is like one of my major trigger foods. And so for a long time, I just didn't really buy or have those kinds of foods in the house. Not because I couldn't have them, but I knew if they were easily accessible to me, I was going to eat them. And so in order to keep myself from binging on them, I just didn't keep them in the house. Or maybe it's keeping an area clear and ready for exercise. So you have a system in place set up in your home that it's easy to go over and exercise whenever you have the time, energy, or can make the effort to do so. Or maybe it's about, keeping extra veggies prepped and ready to go that are already cut and ready to go. So all you have to do is put them on your plate. Or, buying pre-made foods like grilled chicken and things like that. So you don't have to meal prep a bunch of food. It's already there in your fridge. It's much easier to decide I'm going to eat more grilled chicken if you have grilled chicken that's healthy and readily available in your fridge, rather than you having to go through the effort of making it and all those things. I think that's a super underrated tip and trick that people don't think about, is that keeping pre-prepped foods that have decent macros, like grilled chicken or like prepped vegetables, they may cost you more on the front end, but once you've built the habit of doing it, you're much more willing to do it rather than having to create the habit of cooking more food to go along with eating health. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Hopefully it does. It was really helpful for me. But remember, all of this does take time. So be patient and trust the process. We also want to think about incorporating some sort of tracking and accountability. One of the best ways to keep and build habits is to have some sort of accountability, whether that be via journal or even better, an accountability partner, someone who wants to come alongside you and has healthy, ideas about living a healthy lifestyle as well. This could be a partner, a friend, whomever it is. We're in, as this video is being posted, we're in like New Year, New You era. So I'm sure somebody is, but having an accountability partner is a great way to keep yourself in check and keep you from getting lost or stuck in your micro habits and keeping you from getting, in a sense, demotivated, right? So remember, as you're going through this new season and trying to be this new fit person, focus on the system. Focus on incorporating those small changes over time, because those can have incremental and huge impact on your overall lifestyle. And believe it or not, before you know it, if you continue to increase those habits over time, you will become the fit and healthy person that you hope to be. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you loved it, go watch this one next, and I'll catch you next time. Bye, friends.